Hormones of the Hypothalamus and the Pituitary Gland by Claire Jungwirth. Have you ever wondered how certain phenomena in the body, such as hair growth, sperm production, puberty, menstrual cycles, bone and tissue growth when we're little kids, lots of different things, even like the positive feedback system of childbirth through cervix dilation and milk production and all these seemingly separate things that happen in our body, they're all unique and very, very different. But funnily enough, they're all linked. How they're linked is actually via the endocrine system, so via glands and via hormones. The master gland that regulates this lies in the brain and it's called the hypothalamus. Now, as the name suggests, it sits just below the thalamus and immediately above the brainstem. It's basically the connection between the nervous system and the release of hormones for the endocrine system. Now, inferior to this lies the pituitary gland. Now, this gland is where functional hormones are released from. The hypothalamus is connected to the anterior and posterior pituitary gland and communicates via releasing and stimulating hormones and inhibiting hormones. Now, this communication from the hypothalamus allows specific cells called tropins from the anterior pituitary to secrete hormones to endocrine glands around the body. The posterior pituitary gland stores and releases only 2 hormones though. Now let's have a look closer at all these cells and all these hormones, starting with the anterior pituitary gland. Now they're called somatotrophs. And they are cells that secrete human growth hormone, HGH, also known as somatotropin. Now, their main action is to promote cells to grow and multiply in places like the liver, skeletal muscles, bone, cartilage, and other tissues for repair and growth. It's regulated by growth hormone releasing hormone, also known as somatocredin, which stimulates the proliferation of cells. We also have growth hormone inhibiting hormone, GHIH, also known as somatostatin, which is the inhibiting factor of these cells. Corticotroph cells secrete adrenocorticotropic hormones, ACTH. This is a hormone which affects the production of cortisol from the adrenal glands. Now, for a quick recap, cortisol is a steroid hormone and it acts in homeostasis regulation of blood glucose levels by counteracting insulin. Now, cortisol is also a stress response as well. And we have dopamine as the inhibiting hormone and corticotropin releasing hormone, which is a stimulating hormone, both sent from the hypothalamus. Now, some corticotroph cells also secrete melanocyte stimulating hormone, MSH. That acts on skin pigmentation, but other roles in the body are unknown at this time. Next, we have thyrotrophs. They secrete thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH, also known as thyrotropin. They, as the name suggests, act on the hormone and the effects of T3 and T4 cells in the assistance of metabolism. As it suggests, they are regulated by the hypothalamus as well. And their names are pretty easy to remember. Thyrotropin releasing hormone, which is obviously stimulating, and thyrotropin inhibiting hormone, which is obviously inhibiting. Next, we have gonadotrophs. They are cells that secrete 2 different types of gonadotropins, and their names are luteinizing hormone, LH, and follicle stimulating hormone, which is FSH. Now, both of these hormones act on sexual homeostasis in the body, but they have 2 different roles for male and females. For male, they act on sperm production and testosterone secretion, and for females, it is on estrogen and progesterone secretion. It also assists in oocyte maturation in the ovaries and the menstrual cycle. They are both regulated by the hypothalamus. They're stimulated by gonadotropin releasing hormone, which stimulates both LH and FSH. Now, last but not least, we have lactotrophs, which secrete prolactin. Now, that assists in milk production from the mammary glands in females, and in males, the action is still unknown. Now, they are stimulated and inhibited by the hypothalamus with prolactin releasing and prolactin inhibiting hormones, which inhibiting is also known as dopamine. In the posterior pituitary gland, however, it's only 2 hormones that are stored and released. The first is oxytocin, which helps dilate the cervix for birth and stimulates milk ejection after birth. And in men, non-pregnant women, the effects are rather unknown. The second is antidiuretic hormone, which acts in males and females the same. It's also called as vasopressin, which decreases urine excretion in kidneys, which raises blood volume and pressure. So in conclusion, the hypothalamus gland in the brain stimulates and inhibits secretion of hormones from the anterior pituitary gland as well as stored hormones from the posterior pituitary gland. It connects the nervous system and endocrine system for homeostasis and endocrine action. Thank you.